What's up, everyone? We are going to talk about what is probably my most highly anticipated indie game of the year, and maybe the last 5 years, if I'm being honest, and it's Sea of Stars. This is more of an impressions than a review officially because I haven't quite finished it yet. I've made some really decent progress. I'm about 15-20 hours in or so, and from what I understand from other reviewers and other people that have finished the game, I'm not too far from finishing it, and therefore I feel comfortable speaking on the game's quality and what it does really well, which is a lot, to be honest. This game is great. So let's get into it. Now, Sea of Stars is brought to us by Sabotage Studio, the creators of The Messenger. This game definitely changes things up in terms of format, as it's a turn-based RPG that promises to take players on a journey filled with magic, mystery, and beautifully handcrafted worlds. And boy, does it deliver. When I say beautifully crafted, I mean it. This game is absolutely stunning, and props to Sabotage Studio. The Messenger was also a really stunning game. Very, very good. Had some really great retro throwbacks. So does Sea of Stars. But let's kick things off with the visuals, how I feel about them. The game is absolutely incredible looking. The hand-drawn pixel art style is a work of art in itself. It's like playing through a living, breathing painting. The attention to detail in every environment, character, and creature is truly remarkable. You can tell that the developers really poured their hearts into creating a mesmerizing world that is really going to leave an impact on each player that gets into this game. As soon as you boot up this game, as soon as you get into it, the visuals pop out at you. If you're playing on the Switch OLED or the PS5 or whatever you're playing on, it really, really manages to pop and make a great, amazing first impression. The pixel art style is clearly a callback to the 16-bit era. It does some really interesting things with lighting and animations that I think would definitely not be possible back then. In fact, I know it wouldn't be possible. So it manages to take the art style many of us love and adore and build on it, but not so much so that it loses its charm and accuracy to kind of that retro look. I would say probably belongs more on like a 32-bit type system rather than a 16-bit, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Every area that you get into, the settings, the atmosphere, the environments, it changes things enough to keep everything fresh and have me excited to move to each town or setting to see what else the game had to offer visually. The visuals are stunning. It looks great. And that's really, honestly, it's not the only thing it does well, but definitely one of my favorite aspects of this game. So next, I really want to talk about gameplay. Sea of Stars features a turn-based combat system that's both engaging and strategic. It's got that classic RPG feel with a twist. The combination attacks between party members add an extra layer of depth to the battles, making every encounter feel unique and rewarding. It reminds me somewhat of Super Mario RPG, kind of meets Chrono Trigger with some other aspects of classic JRPGs kind of sprinkled in there, which is great because I absolutely love those games. The moment-to-moment battles aren't too long, which also makes for some incredible pacing and keeps you moving to the next thing, which I really love. The boss battles, though, manage to be really strategic in many different ways. There's a couple of difficulty spikes in the beginning of the game that really kind of hit hard and make you really think about what you're doing, because you're kind of just going through the motions, learning the combat, getting used to everything, and then you finally get to a point where you're kind of just mowing through enemies, and then all of a sudden you kind of hit a wall at like some of the early bosses, and you might die a lot. I know I've died a few times unexpectedly, and then you kind of learn that the boss battles are puzzles in and of themselves, so it's really important to kind of pay attention to your surroundings and the different aspects of the boss battles. It really manages to keep you on your toes. So let's move on to character progression. This is also on point. A simple system with a lot of potential for customization, and I'm loving it so far. Do I wish it went a little deeper? Yeah, maybe. When I think of like more modern JRPGs and classic JRPGs, there's a lot of layers to the character progression, but here they kept it mostly pretty simple, which is good, and they do it really well, but I would have loved to see a little bit more depth in that area. I don't want to go too deep into the specifics of the character progression because I did find some surprises there, and I found that it was really cool figuring that stuff out on my own. So moving on from character progression, let's get into the story, which I think personally is where Sea of Stars truly shines, in my opinion. At face value and early on in the game, like kind of the first impression, it may just seem like a standard RPG, traditional classic storytelling template, but top level, without getting into spoilers, it's a tale of two children of the solstice who must save the world from evil who's threatening to eclipse the sun forever. That is just just a pretty basic premise of what the story is. But I'll just say that once you really get into it and get deeper into the game, the narrative is beautifully crafted and well paced, filled with emotion, and it's got me hooked for sure. The characters are well developed and the world building is top notch. I found this game to be mostly lighthearted with a lot of feel good moments. I felt really close to the characters and enjoyed it more and more as I progressed along and met new characters. But even the characters early on that you're interacting with are just great, top notch. It's just a ton of fun. Now, before I jump off, the final thing I want to touch on, and one of the things I really look for in a great RPG, is the music. Now, we can't forget about the audio. The music in Sea of Stars is absolutely enchanting. I can't think of another word for it that's better than that. It's incredible. Okay, it complements the game's atmosphere perfectly, adding to the overall immersion in an incredible way. I could listen to the soundtrack all day, every day, and it really captures that classic feel with a modern twist, which is the overall theme for almost everything in this game, from the gameplay to the visuals to the character development to the character progression. It is really trying to capture that classic feel while adding a really modern twist to the game, and I can tell the developers put a lot of effort into that, and the music is no different. It's amazing. I love just throwing some headphones on, playing this game. Like I said before, it's a really feel-good game. You want a game that you can turn on and get yourself in a good mood instantly? Sea of Stars is it, okay? So honestly, there you have it. My initial thoughts on Sea of Stars. I absolutely love it. I'm having a hard time finding any really negative things to say about this game. There's just so many different ways that it's made a really positive impression on me. It's a beautifully crafted RPG that's shaping up to be an absolute must play for fans of the genre. The art, the gameplay, the story, the music, they all come together to create a captivating experience that I can't wait to dive deeper into. I could see myself playing this time and time again. But of course, this is just my first impressions. Stay tuned for a really full in-depth review with a few more specific elements that might get into more spoiler territory. But I really wanted to jump on here, give some spoiler-free comments, very high level, top level view of the different aspects of the game that I really felt made an impact and an impression on me. And if you're already playing Sea of Stars, share your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think, but until next time, I'm out.